Star Wars fans on the Hasbro stand, how are we?
Yay!
Feeling good?
Yay!
Liking the stands?
Yeah.
You guys at the panel earlier?
Yeah.
More questions though, right? Lovely. So first of all, thank you very much to our Legacy Fen guys. Troopers. Thank you. If you guys want to move on, it's a long time to stand here, I reckon it could be a while. So firstly, my name's Alex, I work as part of the UK team, and really excited, as I said earlier, to have Patrick and Sam here to answer any and all of your questions when they can.
Hey, oh, that's loud. Hey guys, my name is Patrick Schneider from our Star Wars Global Brand team.
And microphone free, I'm Sam Smith from Design.
Sam is multitasking right now. As we mentioned on the panel, we revealed some new items. You can see the two kid items right here, the Mandalorian rocket gauntlet and the Mandalorian mask, and he is behind the little, he's hidden right now. He's posing out our two new Black Series figures and our vintage figure.
Now, right?
Yes, exactly. And then we will present them right here. You will be the first people in the world to see these figures.
It's awesome. It's
Absolutely,
awesome.
I love it.
So we've got a few things that we'll go through. We did mention on the panel that we have got some signed stuff to give away. We will organise that in a little while. The guys will actually run their own Q&A for that, so make sure you've got your answers ready. But I suppose to kick it off, do we have any questions in the audience?
I don't know what to say.
That's quite all right.
It's a nice start. It's an easy question, like we'll build from there.
Easy answer, nice.
And actually I think we've got, so our Black Series Zorri Bliss, we need to do some work on. So we're going to do that work and then we'll put her in the case, but we have the other two figures to put out. So for the first time ever, this is our Vintage Mandalorian. First time we're doing the Mandalorian in Vintage. And our Black Series Knight of Ren. The first Knight of Ren we're doing in the Black Series. And then Black Series Zorri Bliss, we'll get some wax, we'll do some surgery, and she will be in the cases later.
So we will be displaying these all in a little while, guys. Any questions? Any more questions, guys? Yep, yes. Another one?
I know you're hiding a fig behind them.
No, I'm not.
That's true. So that is the Black Series Zorri Bliss. It's currently broken. We're going to fix it, and then we'll put it in the display case.
Like I said, it's not behind the curtain, guys. Behind the curtain.
You want to see me, guys? Turn me around.
What about plans for the rest of the Knights of Ren?
It's a great question. So, you know, Star Wars has kind of this tradition of these sets and collections, right? The Bounty Hunters from Episode 5, the Cantina Aliens, the Ghost Crew, Rebel Crew. Knights of Ren are another one. Honestly, we saw them, they looked cool, but Star Wars also has kind of a nice history of like things that look cool not necessarily being prominent in the entertainment. So we knew we wanted one at the outset in each of our lines, Black Series and Vintage. And then honestly, we want to see the movie like you guys and see how cool they are, and also see fan reaction. We didn't want to come out with, you know, 10 items, 5 in the Vintage Collection and 5 in the Black Series, only hear you guys say, you know, oh, Knights of Ren, you know, aren't so great. So let us know if you love the Knights of Ren and want to see more. We'll build them in the future. We've got one vote for more Black Series Knights of Ren right here.
Any more votes for more Knights of Ren?
Yeah.
Right there.
Seems to be a few.
All right, sounds good.
Take note.
You plan to make any vintage ships?
Any vintage vehicles, ships? Absolutely. Another great question. At all, ever, or against specific properties? Yep. So one of the things we love about the Vintage Collection, we love both of our scales, Black Series and Vintage. The great thing about Vintage is it does allow for that world building, like that 3 3/4 inch scale. You really can build out the vehicles, play sets. We've seen a lot of those this year. We had 3 vintage vehicles this fall, and I can say we can't reveal anything, but yes, we will absolutely be doing more vintage vehicles in the future. Definitely at least one next year.
Very good stuff. Thanks, Patrick. Any others? Yes.
I really did enjoy the Black Series Rebel figures. How long will it be till there's a Zeb figure?
We actually spoke about this, I think, in one of our interviews in Paris yesterday. They asked us what our least favorite figure was, and of course we didn't have any. But I said Chopper. Chopper's an amazing figure, obviously, but because we're so tantalizingly close to getting the Ghost Crew. We said at HasCon 2 years ago, we committed, Steve Evans, former design director, committed, we will complete the Rebels Ghost Crew in Black Series. No announcements on Zeb yet, but we're holding that commitment. We will do him eventually.
Very good, very good.
And we've got, Sam performed some miracle surgery, so we've got our Black Series Zorri Bliss figure here. So, and the young fans left, so they didn't get to see the secret figure. Oh, they're right over there.
So, any other questions? Otherwise, I might give it to Patrick to put out a question for one of our signs.
I think there were a lot of questions, right? Or maybe...
We can alternate.
Maybe not? Okay.
There's one.
Take away from the...
Yeah, whose soul did you have to sell in order to make the Rogue One Stormtrooper? Because it's the 3 3/4 inch one is just too stupidly good. It's like you just shrunk a 6-inch one and then like made it better somehow?
I think you're trying to make up for that ugly comment in town. Just kidding. You wanna?
So the Vintage Collection Rogue One Stormtrooper was awesome just because it really is due to the new entertainment. So with Rogue One, with Solo, with The Mandalorian, we've seen this great new take on the Stormtrooper. Again, it's definitely inspired and intended to fit in the world of classic, but there are those subtle differences in terms of the ribbed undersuit. You have the differences in the lower abdomen, and obviously the symmetry that comes into the helmet. But in terms of being able to deliver that figure, you know, the Vintage Collection ended up being the perfect place to release something that was so entertainment specific. And of course, similar to the Clone Trooper, it sort of paves the groundwork of being able to reutilize it for a lot of newness in the line. So we had the mid-band Stormtrooper, which was exclusive, which has the different brow plate, cape, and kind of a long-range sniper rifle. And then just as we showed on the panel today, we have the Elite Shadow Trooper. So I would expect you'll have a lot of opportunity to see that figure utilized elsewhere. But I held on to my soul in that transaction, thankfully. Hopefully the rest of the team did as well.
For now.
Cool, so you wanted to do a trivia question? Is that right?
We'll throw it out to the crowd.
Absolutely. Do we have, so as we mentioned on our panel, we have 9 items on 3 each of our San Diego Comic-Con launch convention exclusives. The Luke Vintage 3-pack, the Boba Fett on anniversary card back, and the Sith Trooper. And so I believe we're going to be doing some trivia. I have a question, and Sam's going to sign them. Sam's the lead designer on Star Wars. He's going to sign them. You'll have it, and I'm sure in 20 years, you can eBay it for millions of dollars. So, do we have the items? Because I have the trivia question. I have, as we do these trivia questions, so I put myself at about 70% on the Star Wars knowledge scale. I'm the business guy. Sam's at about 100%. So mine will be maybe a little softball questions, or questions that I think are good questions but don't know the answer to, but I assume Sam knows the answer to. So we're a good tag team in that sense. Well, we're waiting for Alex. Are there any other questions from the crowd? Yes, back there.
Yeah, so basically, because I've seen lots of legends, like characters from Knights of the Old Republic as figures, will you be bringing characters from like the Dark Forces, like Disarm or Kyle-Katarn or Jaden Claw or Garlic Fire, for example, as figures?
Sam, do you want to answer that question?
So yeah, we've only really started to just briefly get into the expanded universe of Star Wars. So in terms of what's considered canon, what's not, we still have had the ability to kind of infuse newness by way of like Darth Revan and Jaina Solo, which again, characters of the expanded universe absolutely can still live on within the line. Are you referring to Black Series or into 3 3/4?
Black Series and basically all of them.
Okay. Because definitely in terms of like that gaming verse, we've certainly done a lot more in the 3 3/4 inch universe, especially more mainline games in terms of things like the Force Unleashed, the Battlefront games. But there's absolutely the opportunity for more to be infused within the line. Don't have any immediate things that I can speak to, just because we are so entertainment rich right now. But there's absolutely a place for it to happen in the line in the future.
Alrighty, our first item, we will do the Boba Fett. So this Boba Fett is available for sale here at the convention with our retail partners. I think right all around us. Yeah, absolutely. But this will be the only one, or one of three, signed by Sam Smith. So our trivia question, this is one I know the answer to. Raise your hand if you think you know the answer, and I'll call on you and we'll see if you have the answer. Who is the villain Sith in Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire trilogy? Yes, right there. What's that? No, he is a villain. He is not a Sith. Yes, right there. That is correct. Joris Chabot, also on record as the figure I want to see come to the Black Series. So, sir, you have won a designer-signed copy of this Boba Fett item.
I think even beyond that, I think you even admitted to wanting to cosplay.
Cosplay as Joris Chabot, yes. I want to live my life as Joris Chabot.
Fair enough.
So,
I don't have one.
All right.
One will be provided to me shortly.
Great.
So, any other questions for Patrick on that one? We've done one trivia, we'll roll on with more questions.
If you can get a marker, I can.
Just one quick question. Do you know when the premiere is going to be for The Rise of Skywalker?
The what?
The premiere in Leicester Square? Do you know when it's going to be?
I don't, but this kind gentleman has advised the 19th of December. 18th of December. Midnight. So between the 18th and 19th of December.
Oh, excuse me, James. James.
We've got a marker. This is a team effort here. I love it.
Stood on that.
Thanks. Another question? If you can come to the middle, just... Otherwise, we'll all go deaf.
Yeah, me again, because I'm utter garbage. But there's this weird mystery figure that no one knows why it exists. It's the antenna mold for the clone troopers in 3 3/4 inch, but it's at 91st Recon, and it's never been like officially released. But they're really rare, and now there's a bunch of knockoffs of them. But the knockoffs are markedly worse than the older ones, so it's clear that there's been like some official version, but it's never been like released anywhere.
You're going back and forth between really hardball questions and then the nice questions. So.
Shoulder? Which antenna where on the?
It's the 3 3/4 inch one where it has the slot in the back, and then you shove in an antenna.
Okay.
The one with the
So,
maker green.
I'm wondering what would have been like Bree or Cody, because just in terms of trooper designations that had sort of a, and Cody has more of an established backpack, but Bree had an antenna on the rear of his, but it could no, it definitely would have been his phase 2 outfit though. I'd have to do some deep looking, so if that was the trivia question for me, I failed.
All right, we look forward to your next question, which will be a nice question.
Trivia question? I think trivia question.
Yep, I think Sam's got the signed copy. All righty. Our next item. So this item, as far as I'm aware, is not actually for sale here at London Comic-Con. Maybe through some third-party retailers.
We've got some at Dark Side Toys just behind us, but yeah,
Okay.
it's tough to get.
Other than wide availability, it's not available at all. But it's a great item. We described it on the panel. Sam's going to sign it. Sam, do you have a good trivia question for us? Otherwise, I can do one.
So there's a difficult tier to this and then a more casual tier to this, but in the Rise of Skywalker trailer, which vehicle can be seen appearing to the left-hand side of the Millennium Falcon?
That was the first time.
The Ghost.
Was the Ghost. So that's right, you get it. Does anyone know which Shadows of the Empire vehicle? Oh, almost. You have an idea? Oh, it could have been. There was a lot of little elements in it.
Is it Dash Rendar's Outrunner?
Yep. Which was awesome to see, because we haven't done anything with it. We did an original like Outrider product back in like '97 with Shadows of the Empire, but that was an awesome one for me. That was the second one I went to on the second list.
All right. Well, we've got a signed Sam Smith exclusive for
Congratulations.
that one right there with the ghost.
So, back out to the audience. Any more questions for Patrick and Sam? Any difficult ones? Easy ones? Can I have a job? Is that a difficult one or an easy one?
Are you on the business side or the design side? Sales. That's your guy right there. This is a Q&A for all three.
Well, my job is currently taken. I'll be sure to let you know.
Put in a good word.
Don't knock me off as I'm leaving.
There we go.
Any others, guys? Cool, we'll do another. Oh, yep.
Hi. Just wanted to ask about packaging in the Vintage Collection. Just wondered if there was any scope to do some running hardback changes. You mentioned the Stormtrooper, the great Rogue One Stormtrooper, but we really appreciate a Star Wars card back on that figure, I guess. Well, I would anyway, and perhaps a free PO on a Star Wars card back.
You want to? No?
Okay. Absolutely. So again, the Vintage Collection, obviously a very deep line of characters. In terms of characters that we've gotten out onto that Vintage card back, more recently, we've started to see some of those original early bird characters finally sort of see the return to the card back. So we had the Jawa, we had R2-D2, we had Luke Skywalker in his pilot outfit, and then of course even like Chewbacca. So I think there's certainly the opportunity to revisit more of those, as well as the opportunity for getting a lot more newer variants. So it's always interesting to hear the yeah. No, again, we're always looking for candidates and keeping the right balance of ones that we're bringing into the line, whether it's a repack or really a great opportunity to celebrate the, something newness in terms of the card backs.
With that, is there a massive additional can you give us an idea of the scale of the additional cost to get on a new card back? Same figure, new card back, is that difficult, or are we asking too much?
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into it. It's certainly, it's a reasonable question and a reasonable request. Obviously, the fan community knows newly tooled figures are kind of the biggest investment. But even putting out an old figure on a new card back, there's a lot of things that go into it. One thing is that here in 2019, honestly, we put out too many of those, and so we did get some very reasonable backlash from the fan community, just saying that too many repacks is not a good thing. So we've heard that, and we've tried to strike a balance moving forward of about 25% of the line being those repacks, and so we're trying to do what we call smart repacks. It's maybe a little pat on the back, but and it's basically kind of limiting it to the figures that are truly meaningful on a card back. In terms of the cost, there's not really a cost, it's just there's a minimum order quantity that needs to be hit. And so it's also a matter of we don't want to flood the market with an item that basically we have to hit a certain number of, but there's not the demand for that item, because then that'll clog up the pegs for future items that we do want. So a lot of different factors go in, but basically kind of guiding us all through it is kind of what's best for the fan community and what you guys want the most.
Hasbro made a promise to try and reduce plastic or get rid of plastic in toys over the next few years. And I noticed that the Mandalorian gauntlet has got string in front. Is that the production piece? And how are you going to deal with that in terms of the Vintage Collection, where we all love our bubbles?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we probably might get this later in your interview. So basically the plastic-free commitment we're really excited about, we're really proud of. Like Hasbro, our mission is to make the world a better place for kids and their families, and we really do take that seriously. It's not just toys, it's how we do business. We know that plastic in packaging is a huge problem, and it's also honestly something that our fans and our consumers have called us and said to us, like, if I'm an out-of-box collector, I throw the packaging away and that's filling up a landfill somewhere. So we're really proud of Hasbro for making that commitment. The kind of technical details of that, we're going to start phasing it out in 2020, but it won't be complete until 2022. So this item, for example, was already in production when that decision was made, and so kind of we all knew that and didn't want to throw a wrench in things. So this item will be out of the market by 2022, so it's not an issue. With things like the vintage collection, honestly, we're talking with fans, we're doing research, we're understanding kind of how many are in-pack versus out-of-pack collectors. We're exploring different plastic substitutes, and then we're exploring different packaging types. So, you know, probably not a solution for the vintage collection, but Black Series, for example, a lot of our premium role-play Black Series items are already in closed box packaging. They have beautiful pictures and imageries and renders of the product, so that's a potential solution. Basically, again, we've got a few years to figure it out, so we're not doing anything rashly. We're going to work towards the best solution kind of for the consumer and for the company and the world as a whole.
Hi, we've had a question from the live stream from Fantha Tracks.
Oh, great.
Are you guys discussing what you're going to do next with the HasLab range after the success of the sale launch?
HasLab, did fans like HasLab? I don't know. So yeah, again, as a company, we love HasLab. We love the kind of potential that it has to break down different barriers we've had in the past and get items out to fans in a way that we couldn't before. So obviously, as you mentioned, we had a great kind of initial campaign with the barge. We were excited to get that in limited quantities to the UK and to the rest of the world. And we kind of built our line around that. As you know, the HasLab unit just funded, which we're really excited about. And I think basically, again, we want to find that balance. We don't want to come up with all these HasLab projects because we know that there are a lot of fans of multiple properties and these are expensive items. And we've actually heard from fans like, don't do too many at once because I want them all and I can't buy them all at the same time. So we've got a lot of brands at Hasbro that we love, Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel, Power Rangers, you can see them here in the booth. So we're hoping there will be a future Star Wars HasLab project. We have nothing to announce yet, but when it does come, it'll be amazing because we're talking with the fans about what they want.
Awesome. I think potentially time for another prize. All right,
so you guys want
some
good.
trivia?
Alrighty, let's see what we've got in the old pile here. So our next item, the early release Sith Trooper. So we talked about this item on the panel, and again, Sam will sign it. So my question is more of a, this is kind of an internal Hasbro question, but I think you'll get it. So it's kind of more in the Star Wars toy world than the Star Wars world, but hopefully that's why you're here. So what is the name of the legendary Hasbro designer who has designed every Millennium Falcon ever? No one? You can't, you work for Hasbro. Anyone else? Right there, yes sir?
Mark Boudreau.
Absolutely. Volker wins it. Our friend Volker just won a signed Sam Smith product.
Alrighty, back out to the crowd again. Any more questions? Yes.
This is just a lore question that each of you can answer individually.
I love this. Trivia for the trivia givers. This is good.
Who do you personally think Second Sister is?
Interesting.
This would be completely, this is totally fan speculation. And I kind of felt this way too with the, Inquisitor form that we saw with Rebels. There's so much influence that we see from the Night Sisters in terms of sort of character beats to the armor form. So like when Asajj Ventress actually, left her apprenticeship under Darth Renis and sort of moved her way back in with Mother Talzin and the Night Sisters, I would love to see something in terms of a story beat to sort of infuse one of them as being a character that could potentially
Well, that's a good one because in the Fantasy Flight Games source books, there's the Ghosts of Dathomir, and there's a character named Jysera, and she is the apprentice to an Inquisitor who she killed. And it's a little bit of fear in people like going, does Dathomir tie into this? And as a whole, it's just a very good article.
That is certainly absent anything that I certainly don't know about the entertainment, but that just in terms of like form and familiarity and kind of again the influence that we saw with the armor. But my immediate reaction was like, "Whoa, this is what it could be," but we'll certainly see. I love that. I didn't know that about the fantasy flight games. Thank you for informing me.
Thank you. I just like giving stuff away, so I want another trivia.
All right, sounds good. What's next on the pile?
Let's cycle around.
All right, our next item. We're going back to Boba Fett. So if you've been hoping for this Boba Fett, now's your time. Sam, do you have a trivia question for the crowd? All right, this one might be a bit more of a softball, but we like to do a range of questions here. What is the name of the planet that is the capital for the Old Republic and the Empire? Yes, I saw it first. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Coruscant?
That is correct. So,
have another winner?
Absolutely. Here we go. Sam's hand is going to get tighter.
So, back to the audience again. One more questions. Yes, sir.
On Triple Force Friday, it was all about Vintage Collection and Black Series for me. I found the Galaxy Adventures quite surprising, and my nephews are now think they're cool as well. So what's plans about that line?
So thank you. We had that was a lot of fun to work on from an expression standpoint. You know, ultimately from kid targeted product, we always stuck with like the 5-foot articulated movie figures, which really as we started to get into bringing back the vintage collection, the scales themselves were starting to be muddy, and we were really looking for something that sort of great frame as a way of being engaging for kids and potentially being able to deliver any form. So it was actually something that we started on independently. Lucasfilm was actually working on their own things with the Galaxy Adventures and animation. And when we took our figures to them, it was like, hey, we would love to do something like this. We're like, oh, this actually works. So we were able to work in really close collaboration, bring in sort of the unified form, refine the concept a little bit more, and ultimately be able to deliver those figures as super articulated, feature-driven, but not feature-dependent. So again, everything in terms of the action features that the figures have, you can clutch them fast. So their arm isn't only about being able to do one action. You can start that action point from anywhere, or leave the features if you don't want them at all. In terms of what the continuation for that line is, certainly plan to do more. We don't have anything that we can reveal in terms of additional characters, but love to hear that your family's a fan.
Thank you.
But we will, I think we can say, we will be revealing more GOA figures at some point this fall. So who knows when that will be. All right. Let's keep the trivia train rolling. So we are back to our vintage Luke Skywalker special action figure set. So my trivia question here is a little more qualitative, so it'll require some judgment on the answer. But who can tell me, obviously, you can see them right here, this is the perfect item. These characters are 3 3/4 inches tall. How did that 3 3/4 inch scale come about? I think you gotta come over here.
Isn't it because it's 1/12 the size of a normal person, so it's a normal scaling?
That is, it could be any, it could be 1/10, 1/6. No, sorry, it was a great answer, but no.
Venture People, which came out like 3 years before when it's still scaling?
That is, it was a great answer.
Do you have the next?
The guy in the office that I want him that big.
Yep. Yep, so in the original Kenner office, the CEO of Kenner said, and he was just kind of spitballing, but he was like, thinking in order to have all the vehicles and all the worlds of Star Wars, he's like, I think the figures need to be about that big. And one of the designers ran and grabbed a ruler and measured what he was doing, and it was 3 3/4 inches. So that is why all of these toys are now scaled to that size. And you're right, it does work out to be about 1/18 scale, is that right? 18th, yeah. So,
just imagine if we had bigger hands.
I know, exactly. It'd be a whole different world.
Any more questions from the audience, guys?
There's a big community of type photographers for the Black Series and stuff like that. But one of the things I kind of missing is sort of like diorama and accessory pieces. Would that be anything that you would be looking at someday?
we've certainly heard from fans that like, yeah, dioramas, accessories. Again, this is why we love the vintage collection, because it makes those play sets easier because of the world building. But we certainly know that that's required for Black Series as well. Yeah, I think we've read online, we've heard kind of the idea of accessory packs, dioramas. It's definitely stuff we're exploring for the future. Don't have anything to reveal right now. But it's a great idea and definitely something that, yeah, we're talking about. So maybe in a few years, if we do something, you can harken back to today and remember it.
Mine's not character specific. Ezra Bridger in the UK had real trouble getting hold of him. After the rest of the line is really quite easy. I know they've had the supply issues. Is there any thoughts about bringing Ezra to the UK for him?
Is that a question for Alex Shropshire?
So obviously distribution in the UK is an ongoing thing that we're constantly working through. If we look at this year versus previous years in the UK, it's obviously tenfold better, but there's still a long way to go. So with specific characters, obviously we have production runs and we have to hit on the queues and make sure that. But figures that have missed, they're obviously always on the radar. So if we can get to that up, then there'd be no reason not to bring it the whole group. We need to get as much as we can. It's the whole strategies, for sure. Questions?
So it goes down to distribution yet again. Like we get exclusives to Walgreens and other places, and we have to get import versions of them. There's also the Galaxy's Edge, which, if you're in America, it's a small trip. To us, it's a flight over. Are we going to see better distribution on that? Because some of them we get a little bit, and then some are just completely skipped. Can you get the stuff with Ezra as well? Like, there are so many suppliers over here that are urgent to get them, and they're just struggling and having to import from America. Is there anything that's going to change about that?
So I think I can kick it off and then maybe flex you. So retail exclusives, you're exactly right. Like in the US, they're intended for Walgreens or Walmart or those retailers. If those retailers don't exist here in the UK, they can go to other retailers, and I think we've seen that with some of the items. It's just a matter of kind of working through those kinks. With the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge items, it's again kind of that balance. That was a way for us to get those characters out there. We wouldn't have had them in the line otherwise. But we've certainly heard that feedback. We're looking at ways to kind of get them out there. But it's kind of that balance of obviously Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, wanting them to stay special to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So maybe some potential for those in the future. But with general retail exclusives, yeah, I think it's a matter of...
Yeah, I mean, so really following on from it's massively on the radar. Like you would have seen this year, we have had a lot more exclusives that are selling retailers in the US have been available over here with retailers in the UK. It's an ongoing process, one that we're constantly learning from and basically improving that, but it's so on the radar, and it makes perfect sense for UK collectors to have access to as many as they can.
A follow-up on that. So this goes on to like all your lines. You've got the MCM, or well, the Expo sort of like exclusives at the moment. They're featuring across a lot of stores. Normally they're San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. They are 100% at the moment just a con exclusive for everywhere. Is that the case?
That is the case, yeah. So all of those SDC, those items that launched at San Diego Comic-Con, those are only allowed for sale at global conventions. So in the past they were only at SDCC, and then again, I think 6-7 years ago we were like, well, that's stupid. We have great fans everywhere, and so they've come to global cons. But yeah, you will never find those in kind of normal brick and mortar retailers. And that's the same thing for the EU convention exclusive, that Skywalker Strikes item. That'll be only available at conventions here in the EU, and then it will go to our fan channel retailers in the US. So it's kind of a mixed item. We wouldn't be able to do it otherwise.
There's so many arguments over that.
Yeah.
Especially over the Jason 2-pack.
Yeah.
That's gone for stupid money.
So we do another trivia.
I think it's time for another
Absolutely.
trivia. Time for another trivia.
We'll go to our Sith Trooper at 9. And this question, you have to be under the age of 12 to answer, or thereabouts, if you're 13 and you think you can pass for 12. I saw someone raise their hand. You're not under 12, sir. But you might be with someone who's under 12, and that's great. Yes, absolutely. So if you are under 12, you get to answer this question, okay? What is the name of the weapon that a Jedi uses in Star Wars? Yep. Yep, it is a lightsaber. Congratulations.
Should we back it up with a second trivia question? Double, double, bubble?
Absolutely. All right. All right, we have our last Boba Fett that Sam will be signing, the final one. I think we should make this one for the kids as well, I think. So again, if you are under 12, you can answer this question, otherwise you cannot. And we'll keep it on a similar level. So, let's see. Who is in Skywalker? Who is Luke Skywalker's sister? You have to be under 12, sir. Nice try. Yes. Oh, we have 2 answers potentially here. We'll do 2 items. There we go. What's your answer? That's right. What do you have? Absolutely. They're
That's
both
2
right.
winners.
So we'll have the Boba Fett up here, and we'll get one of the Luke Skywalker item, or we'll get one of the Sith Troopers for you since it's a new item. So great.
Cool. Congratulations, guys. So, whilst Patrick's grabbing them, any more questions for Patrick and Sam?
Right, sorry, box in a box. Any more plans in the vintage for box in the boxes?
Oh,
they're really good.
Skip 3-pack, yeah, absolutely. So we love that 3-pack. Also, I think kind of the Jabba's Adventure set has the box figures within the box. Yeah, we've seen a great response to those. Again, we try to mix it up in the line. We know the special action figure sets have a great heritage. And honestly, like, we can keep the price a little lower for those because of the packaging. And also, as we mentioned, with the kind of environmental concerns, that's better. But we know there are figures that we want to get out on the vintage card tactics, so we like to do that. So I think we've been thrilled to see the response. And yeah, you could see some of those in the future as well. So I think we'll continue mixing it up. So sorry, this one we'll sign for the young fan in the back. And then, do you want to do trivia for the last one?
Trivia for the last one.
All right. This is, again, this is kind of a fan favorite. So I think we'll open this to all ages since this is our last one. Sam, do you have a deeper cut fan trivia question for us? Because I think if I ask who Luke Skywalker's father is, we'll get a lot of hands up in the air. And I already asked my one good deep cut question with George Chewbacca.
Based on fan theory, so not confirmed by Lucasfilm at all. But which of the original bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back, smoldering corpse, can be found in the furnace room on Cloud City?
Well, first of all, do I have to specify which IGA year it is?
You got it.
Congratulations.
All right, that's our last signed convention exclusive.
That's it. So, if there's any last questions before we wrap up, guys? One more?
I know you did the 6-inch. Any plans on doing anything like a special limited edition of a 12-inch to mirror the 6-inch?
Oh, like 12-inch Black Series figures? Yeah. No current plans. Marvel Legends did a 12-inch line that had kind of a good run, but we basically decided to do our 8-inch Hyper Wheel instead. So instead of just kind of larger scale, offering a different feature, that interior skeleton. So in terms of kind of our upper level of premium roleplay, premium figures, Hyper Wheel has seen great response from the fans, so Hyper Wheel's our plan for the future.
Are they limited to a certain amount, or are they going to be rolled down to a huge lot?
We've produced a good number, so they're not kind of limited in number. We are keeping the line tight with about 1 to 2 a year. And that's because we don't want fans to worry about, here's a whole nother collection I have to collect. They're kind of intended as the focal points of your display. So, yeah, 1 to 2 a year.
Thank you very much, guys. So, Patrick and Sam are going to be around for the rest of the day, but that's going to close off the Q&A for now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Salutations. Hello, chaps. Great that you watched the video. Really pleased that you took the time to watch it. Now, if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and tell all your friends. Subscribing is good because we have new videos every Wednesday, every Saturday, so don't miss out.